Before I get deep into the main message of this monologue, I just want to say that I have not forgotten about the Chicharito injury in the US Open Cup that took place this week. And tomorrow on Sunday morning in Mono173, I'm going to explain why the Chicharito injury will go down as the biggest tragedy in US Open Cup history. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So stay tuned for Monologue 173 on Sunday morning, June 11th. So let's get into this main message. Take a look at this data right here on transfermarket.us. Taty Castellanos contract. Now look at the bottom, because we already know his contract with Girona has already ended. His loan. He was on loan to Girona from New York City Football Club. MLS loaned him to La Liga. And that's something that you European fanboys don't understand. He was loaned by MLS to Europe, which means he was still an MLS player playing in Europe. Similar to how Marin Haile Selassie, he's on a loan to Chicago from Switzerland, and Chicago has an option to buy. I'm not sure if Girona had an option to buy Taty Castellanos. And if they did, they weren't going to pay the money. And it kind of would have been awkward, because how will CFG purchase? It'll be like CFG giving money back to themselves. And it's just like this loan. Both clubs are owned by CFG. So CFG loaned themselves another player. Like, that's something about the business of this type of company that kind of confuses people, because both Girona and New York City Football Club is owned by CFG, the Abu Dhabi royal family. So Abu Dhabi royal family loaned money to themselves. So they basically put themselves in debt. Does that make any sense to you? Now look at this down here. It says on loan from New York City FC. Contract there expires December 31st, 2025. Who are they talking about when they say contract there? They're talking about NYCFC. So what does that mean? Ever since, before Taty Castellanos was loaned to Girona, he was owned by NYCFC. During his play with Girona, when he was setting record play against Real Madrid, he was still owned by Major League Soccer. And up to this day, guess who he is still owned by? Major League Soccer. Now, when I say the word own, I'm assuming that you, the listener, you're a smart person and you're thinking with a business mindset. You're not like NBA fans and you're thinking about slave movies. Own as in his contract. He is on contract with Major League Soccer, who owns New York City Football Club, through the fall of 2025. So technically speaking, he is still on contract with Major League Soccer for the rest of this season, 2024, and 2025. His contract says he owes 3 more seasons to MLS. This season, 2024 season, and the 2025 season, until somebody purchases him from New York City Football Club, and he signs that new contract with whatever club that purchases him, then he is no longer obligated to Major League Soccer. So the purpose of this monologue is to basically address those of you, mainly you European fanboys, who thinks that he is not obligated to Major League Soccer. Based on the contract, he is absolutely obligated to Major League Soccer. And based on the contract, he should be suiting up for Major League Soccer in MLS Match Day 18 this evening. Yes, if this contract data provided by Transfer Market, which is a reliable source, a source that has never proved me wrong, a source that has never let me down when it comes to learning about valuation and contract situations of global football players. Based on the data, he is still obligated to Major League Soccer. So based on the contract information, Taty Castellanos should be suiting up on the field for New York City Football Club this evening against Royal Salt Lake in Salt Lake City, Utah, based on the contract. So my word to you is not so fast, European fanboys, who is saying that he doesn't have to play Major League Soccer, that he doesn't owe Major League Soccer a damn thing. You are wrong. And you need to pay attention to the contract. The contract says that he is still with New York City Football Club until December 31st, 2025. Until somebody purchases him between today and December 2025, he is still obligated to Major League Soccer. And that's how the contract works. So my question is, who gives players that are under contract the authority to say when they're going to play and when they're not going to play? As far as I'm concerned, the only players that have the right, that have the power to do something like that are legends in their late 30s. Legends who already put in the work. Legends who is a global brand and whose brand is bigger than the sport itself. And as of today, there's only two or three, at least two players who have the power to do that. And that's Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Those are the two players on my mind from the top of my head that has the power to tell leagues, okay, these are the certain amount of games I'm going to play, and these are the certain amount of games I'm going to rest. Now, when it comes to MLS, the two players, well, besides Messi, Chicharito and Carlos Vela, they have put in, they are North American icons. So those two guys, they also have the power to tell Los Angeles when they're going to play and when they're not going to play, because they earned that right. They have earned that right. Taty Castellanos, you have not earned that right yet. You have potential of earning that right sometime in the 2030s, like sometime in the mid 2030s, if you keep performing at a high level. When we get to the year 2035, you will have that power to tell teams, okay, this is when these are the certain amount of games I'm going to play, and these are the certain amount of games I'm not going to play, if you continue your high level of play. But today, in 2023, you're still trying to make a name for yourself, Taty Castellanos. So don't listen to these European fanboys telling you that, oh, you don't have to play in MLS. You're bigger than MLS. Taty Castellanos, you are not bigger than MLS. Because if you were bigger than MLS, somebody will have bought you before your season with Corona ended. So obviously, there is something about you that teams are not fully confident of. There is something about you that teams are not willing to pay the big amount of money that New York City Football Club is requiring in order for them to get you. You're not there yet. Because if you were, Barcelona would have been pursuing after you rather than Messi. If you were there yet, the Saudi Pro League will be throwing out tons, billions of dollars to chase after you. If you're there yet, you have the potential of being there, but you are not there yet. So don't allow these European fanboys to deceive you. They just want you to avoid MLS because for some odd reasons, the Americans, the European fanboys and Americans, they're just weird. They don't want to see their own country be successful in soccer. And it's very weird. It's very weird. And you can't blame corruption. Everything's corrupt. Our politicians are corrupt. Our schools are corrupt. The music we listen to is corrupt. So it's hypocritical for you to say you don't want to support MLS because of corruption. Because corruption is who we are. Not as a country, but as a people. Everything you do has something to do with corruption. So this monologue is not to put you down or to antagonize you in any kind of way, Taty Castellanos. It's just the actions that I'm seeing. It's a trend that I stated earlier this month. It's a trend that I'm starting to see with South American stars in Major League Soccer, where you get a phone call or you get a text message or you're seeing signs of interest from your favorite European club. And as a result of that, you automatically believe that your obligation to MLS is done just based on your agent talking to your favorite European club, or you getting a phone call from your favorite European club, or you getting a text message from your favorite European club. You automatically think your obligation to MLS ends. And that is not how it works. Your obligation to MLS ends once your favorite European team purchases you or acquires you, fully acquires you from MLS, and then you sign the new contract with your favorite European club. Loans do not count. If you are on loan from an MLS club and that your favorite European team does not purchase you, you are still obligated to MLS until your favorite European club fully purchases you and you now sign a new contract being obligated to that new favorite European club that you love. Then you're no longer obligated to Major League Soccer. And that is the basis of my argument that I was saying earlier this month. You are still obligated to MLS until your favorite European club fully purchases you away from MLS. That's why I don't like the situation with what Brenner did in Cincinnati. The reason why I'm calling him out, because he stood out the most, and I'm not going to go too much into detail. The same with Emmanuel Reynosos. What the people are saying in Minnesota is that he just doesn't want to play. What the people in Minnesota are saying is that he should be playing. That his situation is not serious to the point where he should be taking days off. And the reason why I'm calling out the South American players, because you are the majority. If the Africans were the majority and they were doing something like this, you better believe I'll be calling them out too. The same with Americans. If Americans was the majority You best believe I'll be calling them out too, and the Europeans. But the South Americans, they're the majority in MLS. And the majority stands out. So whatever the majority do, the majority will always be called out because the majority stands out. So those of you who are saying that Taty Castellanos doesn't have to play for MLS, you're wrong. Based on the contract, he absolutely is supposed to be playing for MLS this summer until another team purchases him. He has not reached the level of Lionel Messi where he can just save himself a couple months to play for the favorite team that he wants to play for. He doesn't have a choice of who he wants to play for. He is still obligated to MLS. He's not on Lionel Messi's level. So with that being said, Taty Castellanos, you could definitely use the League's Cup this summer to truly showcase your brand on a global stage. The League's Cup is a global competition. The League's Cup is a global tournament. This is not an American tournament. This is not a Mexican tournament. This is not a North American tournament. What I want you, listener, to understand that the League's Cup is a global tournament because you have players from throughout every continent. Every continent is being represented in this summer's League's Cup. Every single continent except Antarctica is being represented in this year's League's Cup. And it's going to be a continuous cycle of that. Players who have connections to European clubs, South American clubs, African clubs, Asian clubs, South American clubs, they're going to be represented. The only thing that League's Cup is lacking is similar to what the CCC, the CONCACAF Champions Cup, is lacking, which is a major linear partner. So right now, it doesn't seem like it's a global brand because it's only streaming. So some people think it's not global. Apple TV is a global brand. And it seems like I'm going to have to keep reminding people this. Apple TV is a global brand. Every continent except Antarctica, every continent where people live, they have access to Apple TV. Apple TV is a global brand. As a result of that, Taty Castellanos, you can use that to showcase your brand to European clubs that will be watching. Now, you European fanboys may be thinking that European scouts will not be watching the League's Cup. What you European fanboys need to understand is this. MLS and Europe, their relationship is closer than ever before. MLS's relationship with not only the top five, not only the big five Euros, but MLS's relationship with every major European league. The relationship is closer than ever before. They know what's going on in MLS. And their relationship with MLS is pivotal for them to constantly find stars that can make instant impact in order for clubs in those leagues to avoid relegation. As long as relegation continues to exist in these European leagues, they will be heavily reliant on Major League Soccer players to come in and make an instant impact. You best believe that. So you have the Serie A champion in Napoli. They're still scouting. They'll be watching Diego Almada in this summer's League Cup. They'll be watching Jesus Ferreira in this summer League Cup. Taty Castellanos, what make you think they won't be watching you? A guy who already has European experience over Jesus Ferreira and Thiago Almada. You already have Big 5 Euro experience over those two guys. If they're going to be scouting those guys during the Leagues Cup, what makes you think they're not going to be scouting you? That's one thing you need to keep in mind. Suppose NYCFC goes against Inter Miami in the Leagues Cup. You don't think Barcelona will be watching that match? Seeing what you're all about? They can say, well, we weren't able to bring Lionel Messi back, but we're able to bring in a young striker who can be just as good, if not better than Lionel Messi. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind, Taty Castellanos. Major European scouts will be watching the Leagues Cup. The Leagues Cup will help you to stay in top shape before European play in case somebody actually does purchase you in July. Like if West Ham is the team that purchases you, Castellanos, playing in the Leagues Cup will help you to stay in top shape before European play. So as soon as you go to West Ham, hypothetically speaking, and you'll start making an impact in the preseason. You will blow the fans' minds. You will be able to get the fans already hype. There'll be a huge fanfare for you because they've seen the top shape that you're playing in the Leagues Cup, which is a high level competition. Don't listen to any of these non-American outlets. Well, some of these American outlets too, because a lot of these American sports outlets, they're European fanboys too. Don't listen to any outlet that says MLS is not a high level league. Don't listen to guys like Stephen A. Smith that says MLS is a G League. If you hear anybody say anything as ignorant as that, just know they have no clue about American soccer. Anybody who says MLS is a G League, just know they have absolutely no clue. I mean, they are completely living under a rock when it comes to the operation of Major League Soccer. MLS is a high level league. And these European scouts know that. They're not going to openly admit it because they can't do that. They can't make you European fanboys sad and angry. Lastly, I'll close in this. Taty Castellanos. New York City Football Club needs your help to improve the overall team morale. Nick Cushing is trying. I can see the frustration in his face every time NYCFC loses. He's trying. I don't know where the disconnect is between him and the players, but there is a disconnect. When you constantly see a coach frustrated at the end of every game, there is a disconnect between him and the players. Taty Castellanos, you can be that bridge. You can be that bridge between Nick Cushing and the players. Just for this summer. Taty Castellanos, if you listen to me, I guarantee you that a team will purchase you before the end of the Leagues Cup. Taty Castellanos, if you listen to my voice, I guarantee you a team, your favorite European team, will purchase you right in the middle of the Leagues Cup. You probably won't even have to play the whole Leagues Cup. You'll probably be gone in the beginning of August. Maybe like the second week of August. Fulfill your contract with NYCFC because it shows that you're dedicated. You see, European teams, they don't want a guy who thinks that they're above the club. European clubs don't like that. They don't want a guy who thinks he's his own brand and his desires is more important than the club's desires. European fans don't want that type of player. This is why it's very important for you to show up back to NYCFC and play for NYCFC until your purchase. If you do that, you show up to play for NYCFC, you continue to play at a high level, staying in top shape. You improve the team morale. Get them from below the playoff line and to the playoff line. You don't have to get them above the playoff line, but get them to the playoff line. Get them to the 9th seed. Get them to the 8th seed before the start of the League's Cup. And then you enter the League's Cup and you continue to play at a high level. I guarantee you, based on your European experience that you have over Jesus Ferreira and Thiago Almada, you will be the top target for Napoli this summer. You will be the top target for Barcelona. You'll continue to be the top target for not only West Ham United, but Chelsea. Chelsea needs somebody to resurrect their program. Chelsea needs a guy to resurrect that football club, that football franchise, someone who can bring some hope to that franchise. That's what Chelsea needs, and you can be the guy. But you first must show that you are dedicated to fulfilling your obligations to the team that you're under contract with. Because if you don't do that, it'll be a bad look on you. It'll look like you're a guy who's just looking out for himself. And that doesn't work for guys who are not legends. You are not a legend. You are not on Lionel Messi's level. Lionel Messi is the only guy who can get away with that. And even European clubs, they had an issue with Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Guys who already put the work in. Guys who already proved themselves that they are worthy of legendary status. Manchester United and PSG, they didn't like those two guys putting their own brand above the team. So what is that going to say for a guy who's not even legendary status and he's already putting his brand above the team? That's going to be a bad look for you, Taty Castellanos. So Castellanos, if you listen to this monologue instead of those ignorant European fanboys, I guarantee you will leave the League's Cup with a contract with a major European club. And there's no doubt in my mind that Napoli will be one of those clubs that fully focuses on you over Jesus Ferreira and Thiago Almada, because you have European experience already and they don't. There's no doubt in my mind that Chelsea will make a surprise offer because they desperately need someone who is going to resurrect the life of that club. And you're the guy. You're the guy that can do that. But you have to fulfill your obligation with Major League Soccer. You have to be a professional, Taty Castellanos. You have to be a professional.